Hello, I'm Crimson Clover, and welcome back to Clover Reads. Today we have just a couple of short stories from the Am I the A-hole here subreddit. The first one is, Am I the a-hole for basically telling my in-laws this is my house? If you don't like my rules, get out. By Sad Rel. First off, I don't think I was wrong, which has infuriated my girlfriend. I, 25, recently moved into my house. My girlfriend, 27, and I had a little housewarming. Her family, my mother, and a few of our friends. We were eating outdoors and the kids had their own table. My girlfriend's nephew, 8, knocked over a jug of dilute. I was at the table when it happened, and it was clearly an accident. He was very polite and apologized. He was a little upset, but I just left it off. His father came over, and I was shocked at how much his father gave out to him. I told him it was only an accident, etc., and he kept going. I felt really guilty for not stopping it. He ran over to the corner of the garden and started crying. His father went back to the table, and he said what happened, and his wife said he deserved that. He should stay there a long time, or something along those lines. There was almost a snigger from some of her family. Anyway, I went over to the boy a couple of minutes later. I gave him a bar of chocolate. He was still crying. He said, "Sorry again." I gave him a high five and taught him this high five I used to do as a kid. His mother came over and said, "Do you mind not talking to my son? He needs to think about what he did wrong, and he needs to do that alone." I took her and her husband aside and said, "This is my house. If you want to get upset at your kid, don't do it here. If you don't like it, get out." I swear the reaction that followed was insane. They went back to the table saying it. My mom said, never holding back, "Didn't I raise a great son?" He's spot on not to let bullies in his house, which erupted it even more. My girlfriend spoke to me in private and asked me to apologize to them. I said no. I stand by what I said, and this part I regret a bit. I told her I think less of her for even asking me to apologize. A friend of mine and his son kicked ball with the boy and I. He actually gave me a hug. I don't do hugs at the end of the party, and said sorry again. He hugged so tightly for a couple of seconds. Oh no. Poor kid. I really could go on about the drama, but in short, her family thought I was wrong. I was getting little digs, etc. My girlfriend's friend came up privately and said I was right to step in. My girlfriend is still pushing for me to apologize. I still don't think I did anything wrong. I didn't tell them how to parent, but I told them to leave if that's how they want to parent. If I'm being completely honest, I didn't say this. I'm not sure I'd want a kid with a family like that. Aggro over fluffin' flavored water. Oh, is that what dilute is? Or is that like Kool-Aid? Wow, there's so many messages, apologies, but I can't respond to them all. Agreed. What must they be like in private? Snicker is a word, at least in the UK. It's kind of like a snicker, but maybe more derision-y. My mother is the best mother any kid could have ever had. And yeah, it puts a big hole in my future with my girlfriend. Yeah, no. OP said it's OP's house, implying that the girlfriend does not live with them. Well, with them, yeah. Because OP doesn't, unless I completely misread the article, OP doesn't identify the gender. Unless it's in the comments somewhere. In any case. Yelling at a child at somebody else's house during a housewarming party is kind of rude of the girlfriend's aunt and uncle. Wait, yes, because nephews, so girlfriend's brother and sister-in-law, doesn't quite say. In any case, yelling at a child at somebody else's house instead of like, "Hey, can I go to a room and quietly have a word to discipline my kid?" Not just yell at him in front of a bunch of people the kid probably doesn't know, embarrassing him, making the child cry, and the kid is clearly expecting something worse because he went and put himself in the corner. And then to still be crying several minutes later when OP comes up and gives him chocolate. Like, clearly the parents didn't feel so offended that they didn't leave immediately going, "Oh, you're gonna tell me how to raise my kid in your house? I'm gonna yank the kid and go." No, they stayed for a while. And long enough for the kid to kick a ball around with OP and OP's friend. So I definitely don't think OP is the asshole here. I would be kind of reconsidering the relationship with the girlfriend. She clearly has no problems with this. I really want to... it's irrelevant, but I want to know exactly which of the kid's parents is her sibling. Good chance that the girlfriend grew up with this as standard behavior and is going, "Well, look how I turned out. I'm fine. Clearly this is fine." That's not true. I mean, a kid freaking out over knocking over basically Kool-Aid while you're outdoors and it doesn't hurt anything. It didn't break anything. You can't stain the carpet when it's outside. You're not staining wood or any other more expensive materials. Didn't apparently spill it on any of the other kids. It's a massive overreaction on the parents' part. Now, maybe Opie could have phrased it more politely, but I don't really think they're wrong to say, "Hey, I don't want you yelling at kids in my house," especially for something that's just an actual accident. If you punish kids for accidents, all you're gonna do is make them extra paranoid and afraid of you. These are the sort of parents who go, "I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed." And you know it's going to be worse because of that. I don't know. No, OP. Not the asshole. I hope you can have a very serious talk with your girlfriend before girlfriend ever becomes fiancé, right? Because your parenting styles may be drastically different. And that is something that should be discussed before you move into a more serious portion of a relationship, right? Before you move in together, hopefully. And moving on to the second story. It is... Am I the asshole for disavowing responsibility for needing to feed a 9-year-old girl after her mother dumped her on us and she got sick the first time I fed her? Permitted user Bear Slice 4238. Advice needed. Background. My wife is in a training program that takes place 1 weekend a month for a few months. It started 2 months ago. This weekend, she invited a woman over to stay with us who needed to drive 3 hours to attend. She brought along her 9-year-old girl who cannot eat gluten. My role was to watch her and our 2 boys, both under the age of 8, both Saturday and Sunday. Okay, right off the bat there, did your wife discuss this with you first? And is she staying the weekend? She is, isn't she? Yeah, sounds like she is staying the weekend, and hopefully your wife discussed it with you first. The wife and the woman left around 8:30 on Saturday. Knowing that I was on watch for lunch, I asked the mom what her daughter could eat. The boys had soccer games before and after lunch, and the girl would be coming along. I suggested Chipotle, and the mom said, "Yeah, that's perfect. She loves Chipotle." Okay, wait. So when did you learn she can't have gluten? Did they just tell you this straight up? Or did you feed the kid, then she got sick, and then you realized she had a gluten intolerance? We got to the soccer field. The girl immediately says, "I'm hungry." Fair enough. Okay, first test. Nothing was discussed about snacks, so I went to a concession tent, and she picked up some hot flaming chips and a ring pop. I asked her if she could have the chips, and she said yes, she'd had it before. When lunchtime came around, we went to Chipotle. I asked the girl what she wanted: kids' meal, hard shell, corn chips, veggies, rice, and avocado. I got a burrito for me, and the boys each had a kids' meal. I asked her if she could have corn since it has gluten. She said yes, as long as there was no more than twice a day. Okay, fine. Corn has gluten. I thought gluten was wheat. Google, come here. I need to know this. Does corn have gluten? Does corn have gluten? Corn does not contain gluten. Gluten is a protein found in wheat, barley, and rye, but not in corn. Okay, so I'm going to assume contamination then. We start eating, and she says she's nauseous. She goes to the bathroom and throws up twice, and then loses her appetite with the meal barely eaten. We finish our meals and go back to soccer. She complains of a stomach ache and feeling worse, and I arrange my in-laws to come watch the boys while I take the girl back to the house. But before I do this, I call the mom during her lunch break. She wasn't very helpful, saying things like, "Yeah, her stomach does these things, it's no one's fault," etc. I take her back and she starts feeling better. When my wife and the mom come back from training, mom takes daughter to go eat by themselves, and I start telling my wife that I'm not responsible for feeding the girl on Sunday, today, given that the mom never supplied us with any instructions, let alone brought food for her daughter. Basically, setting us up to fail, and I'm not doing that again, while paying for it all and her not offering to reimburse. I would have declined anyway. It's not the point, it's the point that counts. Anyway, the mom's a bit about how it's no one's fault was not really accurate. It's your fault, lady. Yeah, be aware of your kids' allergies, please. So my wife told the mom this morning that she needs to arrange for lunch for her daughter, and instead, the mom dragged her daughter along to training all day before they make the 3-hour trek back home. So, am I the asshole for disavowing responsibility for feeding the girl on Sunday, given what happened the day before? No, you're not. But also, that's kind of weird. So she didn't get sick from the corn chips earlier? Or the hot chips? Flaming hot. I'm guessing flaming hot Doritos? Which again, corn chips? I don't think Doritos are naturally gluten-free though. Or, I don't know. I would have to go get a package and double check. Which I'm not going to go buy chips just to double check for a Reddit video. However, I do know a lot of restaurants would they have the corn tortillas, right? But then they'll also have the soft tortillas, which, with wheat and therefore gluten. So she could have gotten sick from cross-contamination. But nowhere in the story does it say directly where the kid's mom said, "Oh, she has a gluten allergy." And I'm gonna guess from being able to eat the corn chips that she doesn't have a corn allergy. But you know, a kid might have a sensitive stomach. It could have been the spices, but it just says veggies, rice, and avocado. Don't know where veggies were. She could have, well, no, she said she barely touched the meal, so probably ate too much. But yeah, I want to know, did the mother just come out and assume the kid had a gluten allergy? Did she get tested? Do they know for certain she's got a gluten allergy? Some people in the comments said she could have celiac disease, which I don't think is a gluten thing. I'm not sure. I only know one person with celiac. And I haven't asked too many questions about what specifically they can eat. I just know that they're cautious about what they eat and they tend to eat the same things so that they don't upset their system worse, which is good for them. Keep it as unupset as possible. Keep your life going longer. OP, did you have any comment replies? We have more questions. Ooh. No, I don't think so. Alright. Just straight up as presented, no. You're not the asshole for refusing to be responsible for the kid. Because, you know, there are a ton of parents who go, oh, my God, my kid got sick. It's your fault. I'm going to take you to court for it. Who cares that I didn't give you a list of safe foods for the kid to eat? Who cares that I didn't provide you money to pay for her food? Who cares if I didn't bring snacks that I know she could eat? And kid going, yeah, I can have gluten as long as twice a day? That is a really odd thing. Like, not the oddest thing I know, because I do know someone who is, like, lactose intolerant, as long as it's before a certain time of day, and then after that time of day, they're fine. So, human bodies be weird. But I would not trust a 9-year-old to tell you the truth about whether or not they could eat something, especially if they're going like, oh, my responsible adult isn't the one watching me. I can get away with lying about what I can eat so I can have something that I'm not usually allowed. And if I suffer consequences for it, it's worth it for the tasty thing. As an adult with lactose intolerant, sometimes I just accept the consequences for this tasty thing. I do not expect a 9-year-old to have better self-control in that area than I do. But no. And you can tell that the kid's mom was all up in her own self-importance. Because instead of providing money or just texting a list of things that the kid could eat, no, she's like, I'm just going to take her to the class with me and make her sit there for hours doing nothing and being bored. Honestly. And that's all we have for you today. Thank you for watching. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. And hopefully I'll catch you next time. Bye bye!